Something gay gonna happen.
Mama, yes.
Show me the gay.
The original Super Mario Bros. Games arguably stand alongside the most important and influential video games ever created. But when the series shifted to the third dimension, Mario's side-scrolling adventures never quite reached the same heights. Now, for the first time since 1995, at least in my opinion anyways, the magic of 2D Mario lives again in Super Mario Wonder. This magical adventure perfectly encapsulates everything that makes Mario great. Top-tier platforming gameplay with exceptionally creative level design, paired with beautiful visuals and a catchy soundtrack. It looks, sounds, and plays like a dream. But just saying this isn't really enough. We need to show it. You see, it's not as if 2D Mario hasn't existed in recent years. Nintendo's successful new Super Mario Bros. Series had 4 entries across multiple platforms and sold millions. These are great games, but for some of us, they never fully clicked. Thus today I'd like to explore Super Mario Wonder both on its own merits and in contrast to what came before, to hopefully demonstrate why I think this is the best 2D Mario adventure since Yoshi's Island. I consider myself a connoisseur of platforming games and have bested hundreds of them over the years. As a result, I've sort of developed my own personal criteria for describing those truly great side-scrollers, and it comes down to 4 elements. Firstly, the core gameplay mechanics. This includes character movement and the satisfaction derived from engaging with said character. Then there's the level design, which focuses on the layouts and pacing of the maps themselves. Then we have visual design. While gameplay may be king, an attractive, well-animated experience draws you further into the game world. And lastly, there's music. A truly great platformer demands an enjoyable, catchy soundtrack. So, how does Mario Wonder fit into these categories, and how does it stack up against other Mario games? Let's begin by discussing the core gameplay mechanics. Now, no 2 Mario games feel exactly alike, but for my money, I've always been partial to Super Mario World's precise controls. That speed and precision possible in this game remains captivating even today, and hopefully this gives you an idea of where I'm coming from when looking at Mario Wonder. With Super Mario Wonder then, Nintendo has created something that feels somewhere between the ultra-precise Super Mario World and the slightly heavier Mario Bros. 3. It feels snappy and responsive, yes, but there is just enough weight behind Mario's movement to enhance that feeling of momentum. Running across the game's world feels great. All the basic actions are fun to use, and there's an inherent satisfaction in simply playing the game, a critical piece of any great platformer. They've even freshened up the moveset this time. Aside from the Fire Flower, Mario Wonder boasts a slew of entirely new power-ups, each with their own capabilities. The elephant is well known from the trailers, controlling more like you'd expect Wario to control in a game like this, but the bubble cap and the drill cap provide entirely new gameplay opportunities. When playing through Super Mario Wonder, however, it was instantly clear that it felt more responsive to play compared to the 4 new Super Mario Bros. Games. So I decided to examine this aspect more closely, and the results are surprising. Initially, I discovered that the standing jump is virtually identical between Wonder and New Super Mario Bros. U. Press the button and they both reach the apex of their jump at the same exact point before dropping back down. I tested other scenarios as well and found that they were also similar. Yet
So he's right on that. The animation, and I can see why people are more excited for the Mario Wonder, is that the animation for the characters, they're not all completely different. They're all the same. That's one. Let's not play as if Nintendo really worked their damn hardest, because they didn't. You can see it. But the comparison, it's more lively, I would say. Like, the reason why Mario Wonder, why a lot of people are giving it a 9 and a 10 and so forth, is because for this new installment, the characters are more lively, more colorful, more impact, and the characters look and feel as if they have emotions. Compared to the one on the right, which is the Super Mario Bros. Wii U version and the deluxe version, all the characters never felt like they had emotion. They just felt like they're there, they do a scene, and then when it comes to gameplay, they show no expression whatsoever. So it just made it feel like I'm playing with the cardboard box, and this cardboard box I forgot to draw color to the character. So I guess it's just gonna be still for the time being, and you can see how in the Super Mario Brothers Wii U version, how he slides back and forth, but in the Wonder version, he skids back and forth.
So what's going on? Well, it turns out there is one big change that has a significant impact on the feel of the game, and that is momentum. So, if you run and jump on this collection of blocks in Wonder, then immediately let go of the controls when you hit the top of the block,
She slows down.
Mario will stop running before falling off the edge. Now, the same maneuver in Super Mario Bros. U results in Mario sliding right off the block before stopping in front of the pipe. When comparing the two, it's clear that Mario maintains momentum much longer in the new Super Mario Bros. Games versus Mario Wonder. It is specifically this element which lends the new series that heaviness that people like to complain about. Adjusting to the scenery and making precise maneuvers feels less satisfying as a result.
It feels less satisfying, but the thing also about it that no one's paying attention to as well is, like I said, animation. Mario doesn't look like
the two, it's clear that Mario maintains momentum.
This Mario, the Mario on Mario Brothers Wonder, he slowly stops running, but he does an animation that he slowly stopped running. Compared to the Mario Brothers Wii U version and the deluxe version, they're stiff as boards.
Super Mario Brothers games
they keep going like the stiff as boards compared to like they're originally alive individuals.
Heaviness that people like to complain about. Adjusting to the scenery and making precise maneuvers feels less satisfying as a result, at least in my opinion. Now, don't misunderstand me, there's nothing wrong with the controls in these new games, but it's not what I was looking for from the series when in 2 dimensions. What this means is that the basics of running and jumping are now more responsive thanks to the change in momentum. But this is far from the only thing, and our next point ties into the game's presentation, which is another of the 4 design pillars. Now, the visuals in Super Mario Wonder are bursting with color and personality, and we'll discuss all of this in a moment. But one of the key victories here stems from its animation and keyframes. So in older sprite-based games, artists would create a bunch of individual frames that would play at fixed intervals. When Mario jumps in Super Mario World, for instance, you can see this cycle in action, right? It plays a huge role in how the game feels to play. But it gets a little trickier in 3D when you're no longer bound by individual frames and can instead deliver these smoothly interpolated animations. With Super Mario Wonder, Nintendo has found a way to forge this perfect middle ground, creating what seems to...
Now that's the problem that I have, is presentation is good, but the problem that I have with the Super Mario Bros. Wonder is that, like I said, animation, movement and design, characters' personalities, they're all, no matter how you may slice it, they're all the same. Like, for example, Mario throwing a fireball. He's doing this. I would like to see different presentation for each individual using their own items. The same items, but different in their own style. I would have liked Peach to, as she's running and throwing a fireball, she could have just went, like she shoots it out like this. Or she just throws it left and right. And Daisy, since she's more of a tomboy and she's more aggressive, just swings her arms back and forth, throwing a fireball. And since she's throwing a baseball. But they have everybody doing the exact same animation.
3D characters designed to sort of move and play like a sprite game. What do I mean? Well, basically, it feels like the designers poured a lot of time into posing and keyframes. So when Mario jumps, he assumes a pose reminiscent of classic box art Mario, for instance.
As he should.
They linger on these specific poses to achieve a sprite-like feel. Mario has his upward jump pose, followed by a downward pose, similar to Super Mario World. There are more subtle secondary animations happening throughout, but it's these specific poses.
His poses and then his knee coming down to hit the ground, as he should. There should be representation representing the old games and putting it into the newer ones. Mario should have that ability where he has that jump and he has those old feeling of jumps and poses. But he should have something newer to go with it as well, which also shows it later in the game.